What's going on, people? We're back for another day of PUBG Europe Contenders. As always, you've got myself, James Banks, joined by the wonderful Cormac, a.k.a. Imperium. And one thing I'm going to kick off today with is, now Cormac's not going to like this, but I love to reply to these people. Yesterday, I told you how ill I was and was dying, my bleeding throat, and haven't been to the doctors here in Ukraine. But first things first. Before, when I've done all the previous, I've done all seasons of Contenders, we have always said, if you guys have any feedback, if you have any criticism, obviously be good criticism in terms of the way you describe it, then we're happy to take it on board. But when you tweet at us and do stupid stuff like say, oh yes, these people are most awful casters ever, with no actual feedback given to it, and then also, we could do a better job, then come and prove it. I'm all down for feedback, but if you got to run your mouth, then run your mouth properly and at least explain it, because idiot stuff like that ain't going to get you very far. I love being here. I've been here for 3 seasons so far, or 3 phases as it be, and here we have a new phase, and we're looking at Group B, and we got 4 more incredible matches coming your way. Airstation Mike, though, they impressed us once again with their consistency, Cormac.
It's ridiculous. Even when you think they're not going to have a good game, they've managed to pull it out of the bag. But like we saw it in Sandhawk, we saw Hugstar getting taken out by Jokers, but they still got points in that game. But when you look over down below, Northern Lights still holding on to that second place.
Yep.
The biggest call out is the difference in points between Tempest in 3rd and PG18 in 12th is less than 30 points. It's 28.
Now, let me talk about Tempest, right, in terms of what you were saying there. So yesterday in Game 1, they started off with 5th place and 2 kills. Then Game 2 on Miramar, they went forward. And this is the one where they actually ended up 11th, which isn't ideal, but then they still walked away with a good amount of kills. Yep. Then we go on to Miramar again for the 3rd game, and they walked away with a 3rd place plus 6 kills. And then on Game 4, they went 5th place and 7 kills. Now, that is solid stuff from these guys. They're doing damage across the board in terms of kills, but they're proving that you don't have to win these games to be in a good position. And I think this is so key because everyone focuses on, yes, let's get these placement points. But Northern Lights, they won a game yesterday, and this is no discredit to them because it was still a win. But because they had good circles, didn't have to rotate anywhere. They weren't fighting very much. They weren't even poking out to try and take additional challenges. They only got 3 kills from that. So the win actually, it's a great, yes, we got a win, but Airstation Mike still managed to cruise above them in terms of points.
It's crazy how close it's getting. And then when you look at the side of Jokers, you talk about Airstation Mike being consistent. Jokers have scored in every single game so far. 24 games we've had, and they've scored points in every single one. That's I don't know if that's happening in any of these phases, and to still lie in 4th place, and then better luck next time. 26 points it was in Game 1, and they had 45 in total for today, and that was including a 0-point game in the 2nd one in Miramar. Imagine if they had gotten even 6 points, it would have found themselves in 5th place.
See, and that's the way you got to get done. Now, you can see Istanbul Wildcats were currently in 10th place now, and for these guys, it's not the end of the world, but they were at 4th just on Monday. It's only Wednesday now, so I'm hoping these next 2 days they can really ramp it up, bring back whatever they were doing in the previous weeks, just find their comfort zone again, maybe change things up a little bit. Don't be so predictable. It's hard to obviously say that when in terms of it's their choice on what to do, and obviously some teams will be watching back at them and saying, okay, they like to approach the game like this, and they might find a good way to counter them, but you've got players like Laza, Apocalypse, BSD on there. These guys are very talented players, and I just want to see them adjust slightly, improve upon themselves if they want to grab themselves back up into the points. And the points are what is in front of you. As always, the point system is not changing. Top 8 will get at least a 1 point, but it's heavily favoured when you get up from 4th place to 1st, and then 1 point equals a 1 kill, or 1 kill equals 1 point, whichever way you want to put it. But either way, that is where teams like Airstation Mike don't need to get a win this week, still racking up the scoreboard.
I know, it's crazy what they're doing. And talking about like Istanbul Wildcats, and same with even No Tag Team and ELGIGANTEN, what they need to do is they know, overall they do know what to do, but it's about evolving your play style from week 1 to week 2 based on doing VOD reviews, based on looking at what the other teams are doing, because damn well we're seeing other teams, they're evolving their gameplay to match and to overtake the likes of Istanbul Wildcats and the likes of Team MOOPHEUS. And that's what's important, especially when you're come down to these final games.
And that's what it's all about. Now, these are the results we saw from yesterday. Better luck next time. Northern Lights, No Tag Team, and Brute Force all taking those wins. And the one that stands out for me most is the No Tag Team one, because we spoke about them since the beginning of this week, that these are guys we've seen in Contenders before. These are guys who have added Nail Up to the team, and he is such a strong individual player. Last phase, me and Toby spotted him and said, do you know what? This guy, he's not just talented, but he's actually really smart on how he approaches situations. Now, them getting this win, I'm hoping it's spurring them on a little bit further now to say, do you know what, we can do this. And that's the problem. When you do change even just one player in a team, because of the way PUBG is, it can add a lot of kind of inaccuracies in order how they would try to play things. So they may be just trying to find their feet a bit better. But look, the scary part is, look, we're nearly done. We're on the 28th match at the end of today. One more day is what Group B have. And you've got to be within that top 8 if you want to fight against Group A here. So I feel rough for some of these teams. And what's really harsh is, like, this is one thing about PUBG in general is we can look at some of these players and we see, oh, they're so good. And sometimes you are just a bit unlucky. You can't rotate successfully. You walk into a problem you didn't expect. Maybe you took too long to actually loot up for some reason. Like, there are many obstacles that can come in your way. And this is what it takes to be a PUBG pro.
And you talked about, like, in terms of that chain reaction, you make that one choice, that one decision where it just, you might think, okay, it's fine for now. That causes a chain reaction of maybe you getting eliminated or you causing an issue. And that's how these games go about. So you got to start off strong, carry it forward, and take it game by game.
And that's what it's all about, right? You have to take it game by game because we spoke about it a bit yesterday. On previous phases, we've seen teams lose out to that top 8 by 1 point. There was a game where it came down to the final kill in order if they qualified or not. And that is how close it can get. And what that makes you in your mind think is, oh, if only I got that extra kill on day 1. And that's where also, you know where we see players, they get a knock and they go in for the flush straight away and take that kill. That's why some of them are so hungry for it. But you can also flush so quickly that you then focus on the guy who's knocked, and his teammates run around the corner and splat you down. And it's like, oh, it's a really 50-50.
It is. It is. So I'm a fan of somebody like going, okay, getting that knockdown and actually making a decision just to wait 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Look around, then make sure that they are aware that it's fine to go in, get the kill, and go for it. So, and then when you talk about kind of the kill points of view, you look at BetterLuckNxTime. They have a total of 37 placement points. 26 of them came for that one game yesterday. But they've got 103 kill points. That differential is crazy. Like, that's up there with the likes of Airstation, Mike, and Northern Lights.
And that's the thing, right? It's all well and good getting those kills, and that's an impressive amount of kills. But imagine trying to get the placement points among it. And this is when we talk about the situations where teams are so focused on getting these kills that actually they spend a lot of utility. Armor's being chipped away, helmets being knocked off. And then when it comes to the big fights at the end, you find some of these teams who they've engaged, they've got a few kills, but nowhere near as much as the guys who might have been fighting since the start. And again, this depends on the circles. If you've had to rotate from the far north and the circle's gone down, say, to military base on Erangel, then you probably are having to fight your way through many of them. Some teams who maybe start in mil to power and they go, oh, military base circle, not too bad a rotation, take a few kills. And then you generally see them get active, around phase 4, phase 5, a bit more. Avangar is a perfect example of this. When we were looking at them, they used to do some of the hardest rotations through the blue, so they would come to the party late. And you'd normally see when there's about 10, 11 teams left, that's when they'd start to get a bit more aggressive. So everyone's got their own strategy to it, but you have to have a mix of placement points and kills. It's all well and good being good at one particular part of this, but if it's not managing to add up that you get eventually, like the Airstation Mikes, they didn't get a win yesterday, but they still racked up so many points. And we're not just talking about them because they're currently in first place. It is because that is a successful formula at the moment if you want to ensure that you do hold on to one of these top 8 spots.
Of course, and especially because they're a newly formed team. You've got 2 members of former Desperado, along with 2 new members. They've come together, they've clicked, they've synergized. They've put what their strengths are, the likes of Hugstar, with his ability to frag out and get those kills, matched with the intelligence and the experience that the 2 members from former Desperados bring to the table. Their rotations are on point. The way they position themselves are generally very accurate. And they just know where to be at the right time to make it work.
And that's what it's all about. Now, today's games are going to be 2 Erangels, and then we're going to go on to 1 Miramar and 1 Sanhok. And here we go. This is it, John. This is why our producer is so good. Good old producer Timmer is there showing us just the placement points and the kills points here for our top 8 teams. And this is where you can see Airstation Mike, 80 placement points, which is solid. Then you're looking at 110 kills alongside it. And you can see, yes, we're seeing most of these here are favored in getting the kill points, right? But they're getting a decent amount of placement points with it. Brute Force yesterday, right? They came out of that win. It was the last game yesterday on Sanhok, and no one would have expected them to be able to take that. But they managed to control the northern side of the circle for the longest time. They were literally deleting all the teams that were coming back out of it. And then, when it even looked like they were getting knocked down, and they was just managed to stop their players getting flushed every single time. So there was multiple times players had been knocked, and you'd go, oh, it's not going to look good for them now. But they did manage to pull it off. I want to see if they can do that once again, because wherever that confidence came from, because they didn't have circle luck. It was confidence. It was just, I'm going to take the fights now. I want to see them replicate that on other maps.
Well, that's the thing. They were like it in week one. They always had, throughout the whole of week one, they had a much stronger amount of kill points than they did placement points. It's just they've increased it with the likes of chicken dinner. But the one team, ELGIGANTEN, they're the only team in the top 14 that haven't actually got a chicken dinner. Every single other team around them has gotten one. So I really want to see them pick it up. We saw it's the former powerful roster in the phase 2 promotional phase. In the first part of it, in the first stage, they got 4 chicken dinners, and they were going up against the likes of MJ-Esports. No team to be sniffed at, and they were just wiping the floor. Whereas here in phase 3, I don't know what it is, but they just haven't found a groove.
Now, I'm not writing off 13th to 16th place, but I'm just going to take a moment to say PG18, No Tag Team, Istanbul Wildcats, and ELGIGANTEN. These 4 teams can quite easily jump their way back up into top 8. But I guarantee you, 3 of these teams probably won't make it because they're going to all be fighting a similar position with each other at the moment, which means they're all close in points, plus the other teams in there. And I'm just saying, ELGIG yesterday had moments of looking good, but they were dying out too early. Istanbul Wildcats, I'm sad to say that they're slowing down a bit. No Tag Team, I want to see that win they had yesterday spur them on. And PG18, I just need to see them get more active because the placement points again for them is a big issue. But what they've had is, when they are fighting, it's not been clean fights. They will generally go into a 4v4 or a 4v3 and still lose one player. And that's what they can't afford to have if they do want them placement points with it. So there's many little moments here that could change it. And this is what makes PUBG such a great esport, is that such small moments can define an entire game, but potentially that defines your entire opening group stage here.
Of course. It's absolutely crazy. But we are into this first game. The playing trajectory, as you see in front of yourselves, is going from just around the northwest down to the southeast. Military base, George Paul, even if you want to go towards Pachinki. Of course, Primor's very actively possible for all of these teams. So I don't think that's a bad trajectory for just game 1 of the day.
Yeah, I think this will be a fine for most teams, right? You're still going to get to Rozhok and School. We're going to see some teams jump up and try and grab some vehicles and get their way over to Severny. I very much doubt we'll see anyone head over to Stalba, but we'll probably get the Prison, Lipovka, and Milta Power teams in their happy spots. But how many are going to gamble for military base here? Because we saw this on day 1, I believe it was, where there was 3 or 4 teams that opted when it was a more southern plane for them to have this military base. So far, it looks like it's just going to be huge potential going over to Novo, and Unique will take military. So not too bad at all. And I just want to make sure that both these teams have looked across each other and said, okay, this is good. They have that awareness around them that we are on our own, we've got our own spaces, we don't have to walk into any craziness to start things off with here.
Everybody will be aware that Team Unique love to land in military base. They love to go there. It's a normal spot. Whereas I hope Unique have looked over and have kind of gone, okay, there's somebody else heading towards Novo. But this phase 1 circle, nice and northwest in between the likes of George Paul, Gaka, even the edge of Pachinki and Rozhok is occupied, and with water between the river and the sea, it's about 30%, taking away some of that landmass.
And what you also just saw there is Jokers. They've got Set at the moment, who's just outside of Zaki, just above North George, and the rest of his team have grabbed vehicles and heading their way over to Severny as normal. So I think Set will try and join them, but given where this circle's been, why not just try and take some more ground in Zaki and hold on to it? You're probably likely, where the circle shifts, the Zaki will be excluded because there's about 35% water in this circle. But at least for Set, he can get some extra. Oh, here we go. Okay, Perfect is going to go down instantly. Mini finds him and says, nope, you're not hiding away from me. You'll go down early on. And this is what happens when people have to change positions. We get clusters elsewhere. But going back to what I was saying, if Set wants to loot Zaki, he's going to have all the loot he wanted in the world and then can join back up on his team wherever they want to go. But he just has to be aware that he's got some space to work with now.
Definitely, and I gotta say, it's normally the opposite way around. Normally, it's a member of MJ-Esports that actually goes down early on because they like to kind of split drop. And what is a little bit worrying for Northern Lights, not to take anything away from the rest of their team, but Perfectix is the top fragger for their team. He's currently lying second place overall with 35 kills. So that's going to be a bit of a blow coming into his later game engagements. So they'll want to really hold out, maybe play a little bit safer because they want to keep hold of this second position overall.
Now, when it comes to what Huge Potential can do from here, I really want to see them try and get their rotation either just after Unique and just follow them behind, because they're probably going to go on this western side of military base, or they decide to go before. Obviously, predicting to go before is going to be a lot harder than that, but the worst thing they want is that they both go around a similar time. They try to fight each other on the western military bridge, because that will become a bit of an unwinnable situation for both teams. It's very unlikely that you're going to see them come unharmed from this.
And to touch on that, if I was Huge Potential, I'd actually leave it until even the blue zone is...
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all.
The end of phase 1. Because the tick damage is little to nothing in phase 1. It gives yourself the freedom of space. And you could even catch a player or two out heading into a circle that wouldn't expect it to happen. That's what I would do. And we talk about, like, rotations are so important. We see some teams, or even some players, that they'll go straight in, like, directionally into the circle or into a compound, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's situational, but there's also often times where you kind of go, you could just go a bit more towards the east or the west side, and you'll find yourself in a much safer position as a 4-man squad without putting that risk to your team.
And when we talk about risks to teams, PG-18, they love this play, right? Splitting up on the early part of dropping down. The problem they have here, in my eyes, is with this circle, and so many teams are going to rotate in, they need to group up as soon as possible. You can see Nemrith's a little bit further away from the rest of them, but everyone else is kind of trying to cluster up right now. But they've got 4 different teams approaching the same position just outside, well, to the north of Gatka here, just outside Hospital.
Yeah, it's always something that these teams will have to be very aware of. There's a time and a place to split up, to stay together. We hate to see it time and time again. He came in super fast. Now, he was being attacked by the brute force boys as well, so I understand why that became a bit chaotic, but this is the last thing you wanted. You're being shot at by 2 teams. PJ team, we just spoke about it. They're split up at the moment, and this is what's going down. A knock comes in, and this could have been easily them losing a player early on. Thank God the smokes are down. D's is now repositioning the car to get him up to full health. One car's been blown up completely, and he's still now being hit as he's trying to drive away. They need to group up. They need to play the team game, but they need to ensure that no one goes down. It's too early on for these guys. Well, they've gotten onto that compound on the coastal line, so it should be pretty good for now. We do see a lot of these teams are heading towards the west coast, as in the deep west coast, because there's a few more compounds. It is the coastal area, so there's a much higher chance that there's not really going to be anybody towards the west side of them, and it means that they only need to look in around one direction. We did see Brute Force was one of the teams that were popping off shots in the direction of...
Oh, no!
Wow.
So they rotated, and guess where they went? The eastern bridge, where I said, do not go. Now, obviously, they won't know the information we have, but you think over towards Milton, there's so many teams that are going to be in this kind of position, and look at this, they're just non-stop. Red Foxes, they love to fight, they love to get aggressive early, and they don't give a damn what you're trying to do. They don't care what your plan is. They are looking to rip you apart. Taking that early kill, taking that lead, they watched all of Huge Potential go across, and that was just a huge risk. Obviously, we can see this. If you guys are watching the map stream at home, you can see that Unique still haven't even left military base. Yep. So Huge Potential trying to be fast and go for a northern rotation actually causes them in a hell of a lot of problems.
It's common sense, right? The plane trajectory went down towards southeast. There was a reason why Huge Potential were so easily able to go to Nova. There was always going to be a chance that somebody was going to be in around Milton. They're lucky it was only one team. That the likes of... Tempest, that the likes of 4 Kings had started their rotation into the circle earlier. Otherwise, we could have seen Huge Potential being taken out far more heavily.
Yeah, imagine if someone's actually bridge camping it like we saw yesterday on that Sanok game. that ends up with you definitely losing a lot of players. You'll be very lucky if you can even escape with 1. But those shots were on point again from Red Foxes. I'm impressed by these guys. They do fight so well. It's just them getting in, again, to more placement points alongside those kills like we continue to talk about. But Tempest, now on your screens, they're just outside of Yaznaya at the moment. They're just going across. Problem is, they're rotating the same way as 4 Kings, Huge Potential, and MJ-Esports. Again, I love these guys because they're all going for a longer rotation. They'll take a tiny bit of blue damage, but it's only phase 1. It's not the end of the world. But they're all going up for this northern side of it.
Yeah.
And yet, this is less central for them, but everywhere else is kind of been used, it's been taken up. The center circle is completely covered by all the teams here. So this is an option they can take. Tempers are actually deciding to go back down south now if you're looking at the map stream. So maybe they saw the other teams and went, do you know what? That's probably going to be difficult.
Yeah, because huge potential had moved away. MJ-Esports had already made their way in, and I guarantee if they were aware, might have had an idea of that. Of course, 4Kings moving their way. And Pachinki is completely unoccupied. And that's a nice high looting area, and it is on the edge of the circle. Most likely it will still be in circle on phase 2. I wouldn't be surprised unless we have another huge shift down to the west, but deep south. And it seemed like that maybe more teams than we thought were in the same thought process of nobody's going to go up to the north side of the circle. But now we have at least 3 teams up there.
Now, I'm a little bit scared here for Jokers. You can see Moon on the screen. Now, Moon as an individual has impressed us yesterday multiple times. He did a 1v3. He had multiple 1v2s. The circle pop's quite nice, actually. So pretty much stayed dead center. So Tempers aren't going to be complaining about this. They can go just outside Ruins if they want to. Red Fox is still working their way out alongside Unique. Just going to be coming out of the blue, both these teams. The teams up in the north, there's still plenty of space for them.
Yes.
But I'm just scared because Moon's crossed the water, right? He was near KnorkiS, where Daboom and the Tab are just waiting. But Set is still towards Zaki on the side of North Georgia Pole. And yes, he's got a vehicle. We can just see popping into that. But he's still far away. And I don't want to see maybe MJE or Huge Potential find him on his own and pick him apart.
Most likely, there's a really high chance he's going to get spotted out by one of these teams because MJ are heading towards North Georgia. You have Huge Potential heading towards North Georgia. You also have 4Kings heading towards just outside North Georgia. So really, he's going to have to be very, very careful. But now, just outside South Georgia, we're seeing a clump of 3 or 4 teams. You see it in front of you. That is, of course, Laza and the rest of the Istanbul Wildcats getting very close to PG-18.
So as we said before, right, Unique, they took a longer rotation, took a tiny bit of damage from the blue, going to work their way up on this far western side. And this isn't the end of the world. They're getting vehicles. They've got plenty to work with here. And as they come in, they'll be looking at sort of the other teams who are further away.
I really like it.
Yeah, because what will happen here, right? The other teams will fight in the contested areas. They'll work their way up ever so cautiously. They might meet into Airstation Mike. Certainly is a possibility. It's on the right road for it. But for now, they're kind of dry, and they should be fine. Tempest is going in towards their direction, but if they can get there first, then they'll be able to grab themselves the ground in the advantage position if they so want it to be.
So far, we've lost Perfectix from Northern Lights. We've lost EHOT of Huge Potential. Trying to think of who else has been taken out. First 4 players. So a couple of these teams already down to 3 players. They're going to have to be very, very aware. Of course, to remind you guys, if you don't know, that you can check out the dedicated map stream by putting !map in chat, and then you can open up in a separate tab, getting an idea of how these teams are rotating into these circles.
Oh, Standing, he's going for some long-range shots. He's spotted out from afar, and you can see, look, we haven't got the X-ray on. He's still able to land those nice shots. No fire back towards him just yet. He's got his vehicle in a tree to hide behind, and he's scoping around saying, do you know what, there might be someone else around here as well. Who's going to make the error? It's continuing. Push his way out. Can't land the shots now. They're struggling a bit more when they're moving. It is at some great distance there, but he's at least pushed them away. And again, Unique getting active. They've got their position. Tempest is coming up behind them, and that's what they need to be wary of.
But I guarantee you that Airstation Mike will have heard those shots and gone, oh, wait, there's a team to the south of us. Okay, let's keep that on a bit of a high alert. As Red Foxes, they hold on to George Paul Mountain. I personally love this location, just to hold on to, but you definitely want to stay in the very high ground center area and overlook and make sure that you are not exposing yourself too much. You also have team moves.
Oh no.
There.
Oh no, Tempest. So they rolled straight past Unique in their vehicles, and they're taking a lot of damage. Airstation Mike, they're looking to take down Hanny. He has not got much health yet, but Fake, he's struggling to land those shots, has to get the reload in. This isn't what he wanted. That's the problem when you've only got 10 bullets in the chamber with this gun, and it's not gonna get... he was dreaming, he was hoping. Hanny escapes with his life. Hjort nicely runs by. Big spray down coming in, but he's still unable to get the job done. Good effort from Airstation Mike, but sometimes that risk is worth it. Tempest have got 2 of their members across. Wookie Bookie is still being held down. He's not in his vehicle, and Clib's still in the blue. So they're in a very odd position on, okay, now how do we group together? Because it's a huge risk when they go solo, Opossum, right? Exactly. Because then they've all been able to reload. What Hanny and Hjort just did then, it's not ideal, but they managed to get across it without losing anyone because obviously so much focus was upon Hanny at the beginning.
And of course, they're on bikes, which are just much faster.
Oh, yes.
And so a lot easier to dodge those bullets. And because they're on the beach, smoother road, smoother coastline, no chance of being knocked off their bike. We also can't forget about BetterLuckNxTime. They're making their way just to the west of Gaka into circle, taking a little bit of that blue tick damage, but it's not much for phase 2.
Now, we could get a Georgia poll ending. It would be North Georgia by the looks of it.
Yep.
Sorry, South Georgia by the looks. I'm completely lost on my bearings there. But I am looking at Red Foxes. They're currently sat on the top of Everest. Now, for a team that loves to get aggressive, they've got a great vantage point here. So I can imagine they're going to be shooting for the longest time. They're still in this new circle as well. So they've got a good couple of minutes where they can just relax, take shots, and also get a hell of a lot of information on where teams currently occupy to ensure that when they do only make a move in, they don't jump into a base where teams currently sit.
True. And one thing I do kind of wonder, and it's not something we see that often that is an element, but can be, will they have enough ammo? Will they have enough bullets in their guns? Of course, they had Milta pretty much on their own. Should be safe as Giva was able to catch out Kdoran from Team Oops.
That's a kill for no tag team as well. Certainly going to be happy about that. I wonder if Red Foxes and MOOPHEUS must know they're very close to each other, but better luck next time. That's not what they would have wanted. MOOPHEUS continue to do the damage. They may have lost 2 players, but they did walk away with 2 kills of their own. It's not what they would have wanted so early on in the game, and it probably will involve Hawkeye now thinking, okay, maybe I just chill here and wait for Reggie to come down and make sure he can give me some cover fire. But we spoke about Wookie earlier. He was on his own. He got split away from the rest of his team. Clib has even made his way round and joined Hjort and Hanny, but they will sadly only have 3 players left alive.
They will indeed, as Apocalypse does get knocked down. Laza followed up shots. 2 members of Istanbul Wildcats knocked down. Wanderer from PG-18 getting the work done in the South George warehouses. The rest of his team popping off. You also have ELGIGANTEN in the background, also looking for shots. Was able to take down 1 member of Northern Lights previously.
So many flushes coming in here as well, instantly. No tag team. They've got this compound. They're being shot at from afar by the brute force guys, but they've also got AmerouuS super close range. And, well, the circle pops. We go far down towards the south. Unique are going to be happy with that one because they're just right on the edge. Tempest, they might just be able to hang in maybe in a couple of the smaller houses within where they're hiding at the moment. Red Foxes and MJ-Esports now will have to move down from Everest, and it's how they maneuver around each other, which is going to be very interesting. And actually, Jevles, he seems to have a good idea that this could be happening. He has to land this shot. Now, a bullet goes up towards the rock. A bit of pre-fire coming in there, maybe in case he pokes round. Timing is what it's going to come down to, and that's the way to get the job done. First shot's been landed. Jevles doesn't want to overextend and walk into more of him. Junu, he plays that so well. He knew Mini took damage. A nade going out as well. KnorkiS has to be careful, but he needs to try and make sure his teammate doesn't get flushed. Metabey's working his way around the side here. Gets a nade up, and that nade could be good, but is it too far? Tries to barrel it out, and it does end up going down, and that's the problem when you're doing this on a map like Everest. Junu is still able to avoid nades. Mini's going to be able to bring him back up. Metabey, if he wants to do something, he has to strike now. Him and KnorkiS need to play as a 2-man. That's what Metabey does. He gets himself the first, looking in for the second. Metabey doing all the damage here, and this is exactly what you want to see. Only Stratos remains, and this is the problem, though. You do not want to allow Ojala to get res. Stratos needs to go down now if Red Foxes want to finish him off, and then they can back away and get their way down from Everest.
Of course, yeah, because time is ticking, right? They've got to make the chance, but AmerouuS does get spotted out. MJ-Esports get eliminated in 15th place. Red Foxes carrying on through. There is a reason why they're 5th place overall, the king of Everest.
Kings of the hill as it be. Red Foxes getting those kills in, and they didn't lose. Did they lose anyone? Did they keep them up? Because Jevles got knocked, right? Did he get flushed? It's so hard to see when you go on the map screen.
Everyone up, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, so they got 4 alive. So Red Foxes survive it. They truly are king of the hills. And now they're even taking some additional shots over towards the over towards GR Hawk from huge potential. Yes, he gets a kill on the deep. This is what I mean. Red Foxes, they don't give a damn. They're so aggressive. They're like, we see people. We don't care about the circle coming in. We'll take those shots.
It's like, you're a body. We'll take you out. And then you'll drop to the floor. And more points will go over in favor of... And see, the good thing for Red Foxes, because they're still a full squad, Freenop has actually made his way into the edge of the circle, is going to be able to give that communication and that information to the rest of his team. All the while, huge potential. going out in 14th place when they need all the points that they can get, lying in 15th place overall, feels bad, man.
Now, what's really good here for Red Foxes, we talk about them being on Everest, as you can see now. 4 Kings are down below them. But the huge thing here for them, and again, another kill, MetaBay takes down Spyro, and that's Northern Lights eliminated in 13th. We said they had that win yesterday. Could it motivate them? Could it give them some momentum to bring some additional wins in and try and hold on to their 2nd place, or actually challenge Airstation, Mike?
Yeah.
But again, it's not working out for them. But as I was saying there about Red Foxes, the way they can get down Everest from here is going to be quite easy. Not in the sense that no team's going to be looking at them, but they're taking the shots. They have the high ground, but they don't actually have to move off it just yet. It's the next circle they have to move all the way down. And by that time, when the new circle pops, the other teams are probably going to maneuver before them.
Well, you look at the space they have around them, because all the teams moved up north, because we had that kind of north circle that most of the teams, that 3 or 4 teams had moved in from the north. Now they have a lot of space, and yes, we have seen that shift is quite central. Hospital is still in there, PG-18 on those 3 warehouses, holding on to that compound, and of course, no tag team, still as a full squad, looking to get the job done.
Airstation Mike, though, this time, when they move, they will have nowhere else to go, right? So they're going to have to fight in the open. So it's going to rely, I guess, on Airstation Mike and Tempest, probably to challenge the Brute Force guys. And Brute Force, you can see Hawk's taking some shots. He spotted the Tempest guys. So could that be a chance for ASM to strike here? Unique will have to move as well, and they're under fire from no tag team. But at the same time, Red Foxes are making their way down Everest, and they're taking shots at no tag team. So there is a cluster here where multiple teams are not giving any room, any space for anyone to get inside this new circle.
And now we do see Airstation Mike are making their way into the hospital. They want to pay a visit. They want to send Brute Force to the hospital to visit the doctors and go, "Can you heal me, please, sir?" HalloSenpai takes a little bit of damage. Hawk is on full health. They're sticking together. I really like that from Brute Force. They are holding on together onto the north side of the wing.
Double knocking nade coming in. We spoke about Istanbul Wildcats. That's 2 nice kills for him to get, and literally only takes a tiny bit of damage, can fall back, and isn't actually going to be taken down. So the Wildcats, could this be a game where they can level themselves up a bit further and get closer towards this top 8? That's what we spoke about in the pre-game, but there's still 12 teams in it. And Red Foxes, they're going to run straight up into the likes of 4 Kings. They're going to find a knock onto Freenop. No one's dead just yet, but that could soon quickly change as Jevles also being taken down. But that time it's O'Connell. Maybe Red Foxes are shooting at multiple teams a bit off a bit more than they could chew. And GRISHKAPOWER, he's going in for the cleanup. Only MetaBay remains. Can MetaBay bring Freenop up and at least give them a fighting chance? Because GRISHKAPOWER, he doesn't seem to be holding back at all.
No, he does not indeed. Grenade comes out. Is it going to be Kobe? 1, 2.
Oh no. Went too short. They thought he was closer up in the smoke. Another nade going out further away. Freenop trying to heal himself, but he could find himself just being knocked. Damage done. Freenop stays alive. MetaBay takes a lot of damage as well, but they're going to get out of smoke cover. A Molotov's going to be used to try and force them away. But the problem is here for 4 Kings, they've been taking shots from elsewhere, and now 2 of their players have been knocked. Sometimes you just can't catch a break.
The longer you leave it, the harder it is to get the job done, especially in this open situation that 4 Kings find themselves in. Because when you look at where Red Foxes are, they have a lot more protection around them. You have the tree, you have the kind of the dip of the edge of the mountain, and it's really working out. Manny is also taken out. Reggie Berto from Team Moose spots him out and goes, okay, we're going to do a bit more damage. It's going to be a kill over onto their side, leaving 4 Kings down to, I think, 3 players.
So 4 Kings will try and push their way back out of this. They're still fighting with the Red Foxes. MetaBay now down on the floor. He was the one that saved Freenop and brought him up last time. Freenop getting himself healed back up. There's still a couple of smokes, but they will soon be dropping off. And that means MetaBay is going to be fully exposed. But at the same time, no tag teams helping him out. MetaBay has been exterminated. GRISHKAPOWER getting the job done here. And Freenop is the only one left. He's hiding, cowering behind a tree, because that's all he can do for now.
Is it worth it for 4 Kings? Is it worth it to hold on and look to get that squad wipe? Are they selling themselves short by leaving it too late to get into the circle?
No, they need to right now make a move before the circle starts coming in 5 seconds and head off towards a northwestern direction, get in that new circle. We can see on the map screen that that area is currently clear. They may not know it, but they know they've been shot by no tag team from down on the west side. So they know north is probably the best option here.
And now we've seen Hawk eliminated, just leaving HalloSenpai. The knockdown did come down onto Hugstar, but because Airstation Mike are still a full team, able to get that revive up, what can HalloSenpai do all the while? Higgy looking for Freenop, looking for that final blow to wipe Red Foxes down to the floor.
Freenop can't take any damage from this circle either. It's phase 6. He's going to die no matter what. He may be able to heal himself a bit further, but it's going to be so difficult. As Brute Force, they finally do go down. But we're seeing ASM also go up against Jokers and Tempest at the same time.
Wow, 2 members of Airstation Mike were knocked down, but Unique got eliminated. Will the revives come up while the blue zone is closing in? Set. Tab, working on, taking down 3 members of Tempest. No, make that 4. Tempest get eliminated in 8th place. It's starting to really unfold in this first game of the day. 7 teams, 17 players now left alive as Higgy does get confirmed by Nailab.
Now, we didn't quite see that, right? But what I love from Jokers is they left set up in this compound where you can see at the moment. But the Tab and the Moon moved forward and actually took the fight to Tempest. They saw they were running out of the circle, and they were that confident that they'd be able to take him down. And that's exactly what happens. Now we're in our top 7 teams. It's points for everyone from here on out. But the set, he tries to run himself further forward. He was on the bike, but PG-18, they've been in this compound for quite a while, and they have a lot of ground to cover now. They want to pick up these remaining kills and potentially get a big win. As a nade comes out from Airstation Mike, Moon's going to be on the floor, and that's the heavy hitter for the Jokers, and they will be down in 7th.
And they had to get that done because they need to create space around them. They're now shifting out westwards, which is a wise choice because PG-18 was there, but they're heading right into the path of Yannick from No Tag Team. It's a 3-1 split. O'Connell finds Blast on the 4 Kings. The grenade gets thrown out. Nailab, O'Connell, and Yannick are there.
That was scary for Airstation Mike. They were trying to play it smart, moving around down south and also working their way into it to try and avoid blue damage, but it did happen. 4 Kings, though, they're going to go down from PG-18 and No Tag Team. They couldn't catch a break. Their rotations were difficult, and they were out in the open. But what can Airstation Mike do now? Yannick's going to be knocked. Jazza's getting the job done, but he's going to have to fall back and heal himself up. He's still got Hugstar there with him, though, and Hugstar, he's not going back anywhere yet.
They can't let that revive come through, not at this stage of the game, not in phase 7. They've got to confirm the kills. They've got to get those points on. We've seen what Airstation Mike can do. You see Hugstar is flanking around down the hill, looking for them. Very clever play. He's going to have the Rock 2's advantage if he wants to, going in between the smokes.
Nailab turned.
Come on.
Hugstar's probably just covered by the smoke, so he can't fully see it. Nailab prone, though. He's still got the idea that Hugstar could be jumping out. Who's going to see who first? Nailab, he spots it out. He gets the job done. Hugstar's down and out of it. He goes to now spray onto Jazza. His teammate is able to finish off Hugstar instantly. And Airstation Mike, they're under pressure. And they haven't had the type of kills we've seen in previous games from these guys. Nailab, I spoke about how smart he is, how keen he can be. He's up at 3 kills at the moment. His team have been rocking it. They're up at 9 in total. And they are looking to finish off Airstation Mike right here, right now. Jazza, the only player left to find. He is trying to use himself on the hill to find himself any additional spots to fight from. He knows he needs to take this onto 1v1s, but it's very, very impossible.
And he can't really head up northwards. He can't get away from it with this blue zone closing in. He's going to be taking a lot of damage from that blue zone. It is phase 7. We down to 5 teams, 10 players left. Jazza down to 53 health. He is actually shifting up north as Hawkey takes down Nailab, catches No Tag Team out. That is the final member of Team MOORPHEUS, adding a couple of points for his team.
So he's already hit top 5, and he's got an additional kill points. Huge work from him. Jazza will go down. Airstation Mike, I said they didn't do well. Still got 5 kills in a 5th place. This is incredible. Every single time I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him much this time. Still get 5 kills, of course.
Well, they know what they can do.
I love it. I'm so happy with it. It's just even when we don't see it, they're still getting killed. It's like these guys, they just, no matter what, they will bring some sort of consistency to the game.
Yeah, exactly. Now we do see Genzo and BSD from Istanbul Wildcats. They have the protection of the car, protection of the rock, and of course, still a couple of smoke grenades. That utility popping out because we are down to the last 4 teams. Only 8 players left standing. Yannick, O'Connell of No Tag Team. You got BSD and Genzo. Then, of course, PG-18. They've kept a little bit quiet. They've held on to these warehouses for quite a long time in this game, and they are making use of it. 7 kills so far.
Now, the Wildcats, I keep mentioning it. We've mentioned it for the past 2 days. They've fallen from 4th to 10th, but this is their chance to jump back up. This is their chance to shine. Yes, they've only got 2 players within it. The only real difficulty they're going to have is probably against PG-18. The rest of them is a good chance. Laza, who's probably one of the best players on this team, is down already, but you've still got BSD and Genzo here. There is so much opportunity to be had.
What they could do, if they have a bit of awareness, they have that vehicle, they can shift it up north and actually go behind PG-18.
Genzo just got the crate as well. That could be a game changer. What did he get out of it?
most likely level 3 gear, I'd imagine.
Can that help him out? Genji taking shots here, using the Mini 14 to his advantage. Plenty of damage done. He doesn't have any grenades to fire out towards him, though. But he has to be very careful of Hawkeye, who just threw a smoke down, so he might see it. But Genzo instantly with the knock. He's hungry for more, but he's low on health, and he's going to get taken down. Hawkeye sideswipes him. BSD was going for it, but he was just a little bit further away. Hawkeye's now going to try and take some of their kills away, and no tag team are out in 4th.
Oh, feels bad, man, for Istanbul Wildcats, but now it comes down to 3 teams. 3v1 v1. It's okay, make that 3v1. It is going to be PG18 against Team MOOPHEUS.
You mean against Hawkeye at this point? Because he's completely on his own, and there's loads of nades coming out. PG18 get another win on the board. They do carry on some momentum from yesterday, but that nade was literally like basketball. Huh? Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. And you saw Hawkeye try and run, and it just wasn't going to happen. He literally stood on it and went, ah, damn it. That's a moment where you realise, I'm over. It's game over.
But Hawkeye did such a good job.
Yeah, and got kills. Hawkeye ended up with 3 kills on his own, 5 kills total for his team, alongside the 2nd place.
Like, I think he was left standing on his own with around 11 teams left, I think. But there was a good of players. He had the dip. He had the rock. He was able to prone down, and he just played the waiting game. And by God, did it work.
By the way, I've got to point out, 10 points for the win for PG18, 10 kills. PG18 were in that compound and had circles going their way for a longest time, but they were still active. They didn't need to move out of that, and their compound's different. It wasn't multi-storied, right? It was the warehouses. So it's kind of a flat plane for them to work from. But the great thing they were able to do was pop out every now and again, take shots. Remember, they got active when Airstation Mike and everyone was fighting on that hill. They were not allowing anyone time off, and that is how you get those wins alongside the points. That's the perfect 50-50 split.
It is, but the only shame for PG18 when it comes to the point standing is that a lot of teams that were ahead of them did have good games. So the likes of Wildcats, they had a much stronger game. No tag team had a much stronger game. I think they got around 8 to 10 kills. You also had even Team MOOPHEUS, who were in 6th place. They had a good amount of kills, and Red Foxes pulled on, became Kings of Everest. So it's not over yet for PG18. Yes, the win comes through. Yes, it's going to be 20 points, but it's going to take a lot more than that. That consistency has to really shine.
Now, this is interesting. We spoke about Tempus being very consistent as well. This was an 8th place and 0 kills, unlike these guys at all. But guess what? Red Foxes, 9th place, no placement points, 7 kills, of course. Just being aggressive, sitting on Everest all day long. It's just... That is so much of what I've seen from Red Foxes. Remember, I've only just come back into it this week, so I'm seeing some of these guys for the first time. And Red Foxes, they are just happy to take these fights. Now look at Hawkeye. Oh, you want to come roll up on me, Nate? Yeah, no problem, mate. Thanks. A nice easy kill. And that is why he was able to grab his way to 2nd place. He's kind of lucky he didn't get run over.
I know. But look at this, so cheeky. You know, Kenzo got taken out. Hawkeye was like, oh, is that somebody knocked down? I'll get in.
Here we go.
Point.
Whee! That was the beauty of that nade coming into play. Now, you can see this. It's going to be such a stacked top 8 because hardly any points here for our set of teams that even the placement points teams with 1 point, Tempus, gets away with 10th place.
Wow, that's crazy. But now look at it. It's going to pop off 10 kills for PG18, 9 for no tag team. Of course, 7 for the likes of Red Foxes. 4 teams in double digits.
Yeah, that's a solid game. This game was a very fair game in how it all panned out. Yes, a Western Circle, and yes, a lot of teams kind of struggled on the first initial rotation, but then it was a good amount of team fights. I really like what we saw from this game here. If this is anything to the level that teams are ready to bring today, as they know we're getting closer towards the end of this group, then I am super excited to see how the rest of today goes and tomorrow. Because you know when it's crunch time, the pressure gets elevated.
Exactly.
And some players, they struggle with pressure. They start to think and doubt themselves a bit more. Should I be more passive? Should I take away my aggression? I don't want to die. There's many factors that come into their heads here. And the key thing is you stick to your game, you trust your in-game leader, and you focus on what's in front of you. You can only do as much as you can, right? If you start to make big changes to doubt yourself, I'm not going to go for a fight I normally would, that's the wrong decision because you're used to making that, right? You've trained yourself into that. Just listen, pay attention, and bring your A level that maybe was lacking in the earlier days.
Talking about bringing your A-level, Nemrith of PG18 getting 5 kills. Metabay from Red Foxes. We saw him pop up on the top of the hill, getting 5 kills, followed by BSD and fEJK. I said, Istanbul Wildcats, I've seen what they can do in week 1. They were very consistent in both placement points and kills. They dropped off at the start of this week, but now they're showing up once again.
Today's game, this was probably the most explosive first game we've had this week. This was a really solid stuff from both sides. No tag team, right? They were just rocking it in terms of taking aggressive fights the whole way through. Their problem was they never really had a solid place to fight from. Multiple times moving around with their vehicles, trying to get the job done. And this is kind of the telling sign in it, because Yannick does so much damage, but can only work away with a few kills. Remember when they were fighting Airstation Mike?
Yep.
It was PG-18 who was taking the shots from the compound and saying, thanks, guys. Yep, no problem. We'll take these additional kills coming up.
Exactly. But it was a much better team from No Tag Team. Probably their best performance that I've seen them put together as a full squad, because even up until the end, they were holding the angles. They were holding that position as a strong team. And you talked about that intelligent play coming out from Nail-Up. He prone down. He had an idea that somebody from Airstation Mike was going to flank around, caught Hugstar out, took him out.
Hugstar will have to ensure that he turns things around when it comes to it for that next game. But even then, Airstation Mike still walked away with a solid score in terms of kills, and not even in the placements fully for it, right? 1 placement point indeed.
Crazy.
But those guys remain consistent. And what also remains consistent is that we go to a break after the first game. Guys, we'll be back very shortly, and we'll be going back on Erangel, and I hope we get something as exciting as that game once again. We'll see you soon.